to say that this to me is a very precious homecoming experience for me, because I haven't been here in Hong Kong and in Maryknoll for a very long time. I've emigrated to Canada since 1989, and I haven't been here since, so I've been away for 26 years. And actually, like I flew in from Shanghai yesterday, and when I took the cab to here visiting, it was such an overwhelming emotional experience for me, because really this is the place I grew up in, and I really love the school, really. And it's really a pleasure that now I can share with you my personal journey, because it's a very emotional one as well as an academic one. So one thing is, I want to share with you how I came to where I am, because I started at Maryknoll at primary 4 as a new student there, as a midstream entry student, and then I graduated in 1984 from Form 7. This is a very wonderful place that I grew in, where it gave me a lot of acknowledgement, support, and recognition, and the teachers and all the supportive members here. There were occasions when I was once applying. It was so funny. I applied to study at APA, 香港英語學院, but I wasn't accepted. But curious enough, I was accepted to work there. It was fun because they liked my improvisation skills, and they hired me as their dance accompanist. So anyhow, but when I applied for APA, and then actually I was on the verge of passing the audition. I was on the verge. And at that time, there were a panel of 5 people. And 2 said yes, 2 said no, and the final one said no, because when he asked me how old I was, and I said I was 18 or 19. And the final word is no, because I was too old, too old. You have to be way younger. So it's evaluated based on your age and your accomplishment. So I had a lot of setbacks, and I never made it to where I wanted to. But when I passed by the Hong Kong APA one night on a bus, and then I passed by, it was a night sky, and I looked at this place. I don't know how crazy I was, but I just said, someday I'm going to have a school like you. I just passed by. It looks so beautifully, and I said, I'm going to have a school just like that. And I couldn't believe, after 30 years, it became truth. It became true. So in my process, I never knew why I didn't get to accomplish. But after that, when I have the ability to start to study and go into my master's degree, I took on education. I took on psychology. And I wanted to understand what is the phenomenon of giftedness and prodigy. I actually have 3 doctoral degrees. 1 in piano performance, 1 in education, and 1 in psychology. So the reason why I merged all these 3 degrees is because in order to cultivate human performance at a very high level to a concert pianist standard, I have to understand how the human mind works, therefore psychology. And how you communicate to educate people, I need to understand educational theories. And of course myself, because I play piano and I'm very much in love with performance, I take up concert pianist training. So merging the 3 gave me the tools and the understanding to be able to integrate all these subject matters in an interdisciplinary manner, so that ultimately when I graduate from these 3 doctoral degrees, I set up my own school. And at that time, I have this thing in mind. I was thinking, you know what? If there's Google as search engine and Apple for computers, why not let's set up a Lambda for music school? And that was my standard. So it was based on excellence, high quality, the supreme challenge of human potential. And I was hoping that in 15 years, my school, Lambda, will be the Juilliard of Montreal. And that is my standard, and I'm working towards it. Any one of you studies physics here? Physics? Any more physics? Oh, just one. Okay. So lambda stands for wavelength, right? Wavelength. So the wavelengths of light, we communication in painting and photography through light, so through the wavelengths of light. We communicate through sound in music, through the wavelengths of sound, hence lambda. And also lambda is the acronym of the following. Ready? Learning of the arts through the mind and body in the discovery of aesthetics, hence lambda. You see that this little girl, Sarah, being able to perform within like 18 months of training, this becomes the norm because we have boiled down to a very effective methodology. For example, I tell you, normally when we take piano lessons, what happens? Well, you go to your piano teacher and you see her once a week for an hour, you go back home to practice, right? Now, at our school, what we do is we have the parents attend the lessons if you're very young. And they are required to videotape the lesson so that they know exactly what's going on. And they're not there to teach the kid, but to reinforce the video at home. And when the kid is really young, we teach them and we give them courses of how to encourage the kid at home, how to participate, how to praise them, so that the kid feels that it's worthwhile, so that there's a level of intrinsic motivation for the kid. And we also are always nice to the kid and we encourage them. But we set very realistic goals that they can always meet the challenge. Because if you're setting the goal too high, they cannot achieve and they fail, they feel very bored or very upset. But if the task is too easy, well, it's not challenging enough and there's not much to do. So in our team, we work very hard to diagnose what level they are, and it's almost like personalized in the individual steps of how we pace them. Also, of course, in the teaching. And normally in teaching, you have certain steps by following certain methodologies. But our methodologies are uniquely developed for us, where we know how to push them to the highest limits. And in the meantime, what we do also is to teach them the concert technique from the very beginning. So the outcome is very different. So this is what we do. And I have set the track record now within the last 5 years that over tens of students win international competitions and go to Carnegie Hall to perform. And we now even have more students coming in as international students where they stay at our school and they take very devoted musical training. Well, you know what? Along the obstacles, there are so many that they are uncountable, big and small. And one thing is, I never gave up. That's the truth. Because if you look along further way down the road, you have to continue. So I don't think I gave up, but I took on a mindset of sometimes I have to be analytical or even more detached. Because if it is your school, it is your business, you care so much about it that sometimes your emotional elements can take over. Just like at the beginning when I came over, I was so overwhelmed with emotion. But what I learned is sometimes you have to be so cold-blooded and rational and just walk away. Okay, aha, that's the school, and well, these are the difficulties. And at the same time, I'm never working alone because it's not a one-man band. You have to work with and associate yourself with like-minded people, but also not quite like-minded, because if they are so like-minded with you, well, you have clones of yourself, and you'll make the same decision as yourself. So you need to work with a good team, actually. It's for a bunch of people that, number one, you can trust. They have different opinions, and it's good sometimes to put up a good fight in debate to see what exactly is right. We have to listen to counterpoints. So for one instance is probably in the dance department, because the school is mostly of musicians. Myself being a concert pianist, and you've seen the other young gentleman, his name is Wani Song, and he is also a concert pianist. So it's very easy for concert pianists to run a piano school. But in the dance department, because it's not our expertise, we do have difficulties where we have teachers teaching short term. And finally, what we did is we appointed someone who is the expert in dance, and we have to trust to her. And sometimes as you trust someone, you have to give them room to do what they want. And then there's a lot of discussion, negotiation, but sometimes you have to leave it and let other people take over. It is not about a very autocratic experience where you say, well, it's my school, do it my way or the highway. It never works like that. It's a team of efforts, collaboration, and a lot of trust in between teammates.